Attrition Argumentation, argument of attrition, an aggressive style of communication where one or more participants are not respecting traditional rules of discourse. This is Applying Principles. Thanks for joining me on this journey. My name's Troy. So I came up with this term a couple years ago and I haven't really had a chance to share it other than in my immediate friend group. So I wanted to start off by introducing a couple other terms that are related to this just to get us started off. Firstly, a debate is a formal discussion on a particular topic in a public meeting or legislative assembly in which opposing arguments are put forward. Now, these are usually opposing arguments where people are not listening and there's more talking, but there's lots of rules involved. Now, that's different from a dialectic. A dialectic is the art of investigating or discussing the truth of opinions. Another definition of that is dialectic, also known as the dialectic method, is at base a discourse between two or more people holding different points of view about a subject, but wishing to establish the truth through reasoned arguments. Now, the difference between dialectic is people will have an argument, they will have a position, but they're more interested in the actual truth than their position. They don't care about being right, it's about putting things forward and working it together as a group and through the tools of the word and language that we have available to us, which is personally my favorite way of working through something, because I know I don't know everything, so I like to discern truth with other people, which is exactly why I'm doing this channel. A dialogue, skipping to number 2, a conversation between two or more persons, an exchange of ideas or opinions, a discussion between representatives of a party to a conflict that is aimed at a resolution. I like dialogues. They're good. I mean, generally most conversations we have are in dialogue form where we're just talking without a lot of pretense before it. Argument. A. An act or series of arguing, reasoning, or discussing. B. A coherent series of reasons, statements, or facts intended to support or establish a point of view. C. An angry quarrel or disagreement. Now, as you can tell, I'm trying to use definition C here, but B is often used by a lot of philosophers and also in law. I like to use it a lot too. But also, if you notice here that B and C are different definitions of the word, but they're both very common and very accurate definitions of the word that are used. And when people don't understand that there's different definitions of words like this, there's subtleties in miscommunication. Attrition. Number 3, the act of weakening or exhausting by constant harassment, abuse, or attack. So I think you can start to see the idea I'm trying to convey in this term here. I think we've all interacted with it online and in different ways. And the key thing is that both people want to communicate because otherwise they wouldn't keep talking. But the key thing is they're not doing all the steps involved in communication because both parties have to speak, listen, and think. And there has to be a dynamic elements between those so that they actually can function, because that's how language works. And until our telepathy works, that we can just read each other's minds, we still need to be able to communicate properly. And so I've compiled a little bit of a list just to get an idea a little bit more of this term, how I've interacted with it. This by no means is a complete list. You could throw just about any kind of fallacy on here or any kind of red flag would be on this list, but even those, they're not complete, but they kind of show a little bit of how what you have to watch out for in that interaction. Now, I'm not an expert on this, and these are just a couple ideas I have. So they usually find that any exception to the statement is proof that everything they're saying is wrong. Now, that's just really hard because there's exceptions to every rule. Misspeaking or using the wrong word is evidence of deception or ignorance. And that's hard because we all just mistake, especially when we're in a heated discussion. When our adrenaline's up, we're usually our flight or flight response mode, and we're not communicating as clearly as we wish we could. When there's a miscommunication, people assume they know what you really mean, and it generally falls into a preconceived notion rather than something that's actually being communicated in the moment. And that always leads to a lot of miscommunications and misunderstandings, and sadly, judgments at times. Classic straw man fallacy. People love to interact with a much simpler version than the real version. So they want to create a false version that's much easier to interact with. Oh, well, you hate all these people, or you just can't do this. Well, you can't do anything right. Making easy blanket statements. Well, then it's very easy to judge when you fall into a very simple category. But nobody is that simple. Everybody's more complex than that. Change the arena, or to change the nature of the conversation part of the way through without properly communicating. I spent some time online trying to find some good examples of this, but all the ones I could find were more mediocre and they weren't brief and concise enough. All of them were going to require more of unpacking of other stuff in the video, and so I just kind of left it with this. And so if you find any that you think that are clear and concise, please share them in the comments below. And if you do like the video, please like the video, and have a great day, and thanks for watching.